Hey, everybody.
Hey, everybody, welcome. And guess what? This is another episode of Your
Your
Weird
weird
Week.
week.
Welcome to the show, and what a weird week it was. Even as we're filming this, the Sunday before we release it, there's been news of, China and Russia tag teaming and having their warships patrolling or doing some maneuvers around the Alaskan coast.
Just outside of, territorial waters in the
Right.
international, but right there in that proximity.
So they're showing they're definitely a team when they're doing stuff like that. And the fact that they're patrolling in the waters there, I don't really know. This happened we're just getting wind of this. So I don't really know if this plays into the weird week last week or not. But
Probably not.
we could look at that. Maybe that is to come in this week for all we know. Obviously, the big news of last week, one of the big news items was the former president of the United States was indicted once more on a number of counts.
And
Three, right?
three at least, I
Yeah,
think.
it's three.
Six
Unindicted co-conspirators.
right. And of course,
Spit it
so
out,
there's
Mr.
also this whole thing about who they are, who they seem to most likely be.
Right, so we do have the list of them. And why don't we go through the cards and see how they fit
All
the
right.
scenario of Trump's indictment from last week. So, our first card, the main focus from last week was the star reversed. And so that was the main focus or tone for the week. And it was again this blemish. I almost could say it's a blemish on America, And of course, there are stars in our flag. So I find that an interesting connection right there.
Okay.
But also, it's a blemish on, the Mr. Trump, who wants to be, the next president, and he still plans on it. And so, there's a lot of pessimism, doubt. I'm sure even though he puts up a good front, he's very concerned about where some of this is leading. And of course, some of the people that have obviously testified against him, to the grand jury.
Well, whether you feel it's about Mr. Trump or whether you feel it's about uh, the rest of us, the star reverse can kind of signify both of those in a way, a sense of, hopelessness or a sense of a pause in your destiny. That could be what Mr. Trump feels. But for those of us who are wondering, when is it really going to move into, legal proceedings?
Well, it also could be obviously a lot of pessimism and upset with his supporters,
Yeah,
Clearly,
good
there's
point.
that as well. And so this has a boomerang effect. And let's face it, even with the rest of us, some people may be relishing this, but the way I look at it is nobody wins here. This is not a happy thing. And a lot of us are getting kind of tired of it. We wish it would go away or we could move it along. So there is that aspect too.
Okay, so then card two.
Well, card two is what we will see the mysteries. We'll find out or see the mysteries. And it was the Seven of Cups upright.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there are still some things we found out. Jack Smith, number one, charged Trump with 3 crimes and charged him solo. And this, pundits and people believe is so that he can move the case faster. It'll be less complicated this way. But as we know, there are 6 unindicted co-conspirators. And of course, pundits have named them because if you look at the text of the indictment, you can kind of tell from some of the players in this whole drama who fits where. And the pundits did, I think, a fairly good job of that. But still, so what we will find out or see, what we found out and saw was how Jack Smith built this case and the way he wants to present it.
Right. The Seven of Cups could be, in this context, could be a metaphor for the many levels to explore here or to have to consider for the image of, the card in a way. But I also find it interesting that 1 plus 6 equals 7.
Ah,
And they're all probably dreaming of something.
that's a good point. And each one of them could be one of those cups. Two. Good observation, Mr. O. Wow.
All right.
Okay, card 3, the Ten of Cups reversed. What other perspectives need to be considered? Well, remember, we use the Tarot of Oppositions for that part of the reading, and you can look at the upright and reversed of that. And clearly, some people, some tribes are happy, some tribes are not, and never the twain seems to meet here. There's a lot more argument, disagreement. As a matter of fact, out and out hostility. Mr. Trump himself. Oh, and by the way, I have to say this. Let's go back to the star for just a moment. I heard that Mr. Trump was not very happy not being called President Trump because, he feels he's still the star. And in essence, he feels he never lost that election, and so his star was diminished in that way.
Well,
too.
that's what his allegation is, or
Yeah.
however you call that he didn't know he didn't lose.
I had to interject that.
That's
So
fine.
let's go back to the Ten of Cups because clearly he's not happy. We know it. A lot of people are not happy. Hey, Jack Smith and company aren't happy right now because Trump came out with a statement saying, you come after me, I'm going to come after you. Again, possibly threatening and intimidating possible witnesses.
There was a concept known as stochastic terrorism that suggests that certain people have an influence in saying certain things that others maybe will pick up on a hidden message, whether it's really there or not intentionally, and act. But I don't think I would like to draw our attention to the fact that in the other perspectives to consider, we use the Tarot of Oppositions, and the idea is that there is an extreme and an extreme, but there's a liminal area that suggests that there's a number of opinions that slide towards that middle. So some people may be only a little happy, some people may be very happy, and likewise on the unhappy meter.
And some people might be just tired of it, that's it. So I think here the Ten of Cups, in both positions, and remember, even though we read both, the reversed was upright, was what we were seeing on top. And so I feel here that takes a little bit more weight, and it does show that the divides are getting deeper. People are digging in.
I'm digging into a yawn.
Card 4. What is the overall impact, Mr. O? The Nine of Swords reversed. Well,
the overall impact, I suppose, is that maybe some people are feeling a lessening of fear or anxiety or things that seem to, bewilder or crush their spirits in certain ways.
Yes, totally agree. I think that also, it's kind of like some people's fears may be allayed, that finally, the system of justice is moving. And, others might be just at least Mr. Trump knows what he's up against now. So maybe all of this anxiety of not knowing what Jack Smith was going to do has now been relieved on his end as well. So that now he can use it in his campaign to raise money or as he sees fit. Right? And so card 5, the Page of Swords upright, came in what could win the weird week. Justice?
Swords. Well, it could be talking too about a sense of poise and balance and maybe a sense of diplomacy, and no matter how you look at it, the prosecution has to be, to some degree, delicate in exactly how they bring this case forward. They can't necessarily do certain things in a way that make it easier for the defense to find loopholes or to ask for certain advantages. And, it sounds like I'm, more on, the prosecution side. This could be true, but I think it's really speaks more to the fact that Jack Smith is that kind of person. When you think about the swords, there's more than one court card in the swords that sort of has an indication of lawyering, decisioning, kind of abilities, making choices, making decisions. And pages are really kind of like the beginning of that process. So we could be seeing the beginning of a real masterful precision kind of plan.
Well, I kind of feel with the Page of Swords that, obviously people are talking now. There's more dialogue, not necessarily all healthy, but now people are starting to survey and see what's happening here. And there's no more speculation. We know what the charges are, and justice is starting to move. This is the beginning of a process. And unfortunately for Mr. Trump, he's got several of these processes going on right now.
There's more to come, too.
There's more to come. So stay tuned as we see if this comes up in any way, shape, or form in this week's reading, or if something else is afoot. Like I said, Russia, China, kind of interesting stuff going on there. The war in Ukraine. Ukraine is taking the war more to Russian soil. So there's a lot of interesting stuff happening in the world right now besides all this.
Let's see if our cards will weirdly point us to any of that.
Indeed. And so we're going to start as we... my tablet's giving me grief here. But as we always do with my Twin Tarot Oracle. And that will give us card 1, which is the main focus or theme or tone for the week ahead. So it's a double major arcana deck. There's an upright and a reversed card. For each of the major arcana. Well, the first card is the reversed Judgment card. What say you, Mr. O?
The main focus may be about the fact that there is some sense of bad decisions, wrong choices, or certainly somebody who may be saying that there is great injustices, whether there is or is not. It's very hard in the context of what we know that's going on with this legal stuff with former President Trump, that he does in fact feel everything's very unfair to him, or somehow, the worst case of injustice ever in history.
Yeah, it's really kind of, I don't know what to say. It certainly does fit this, that there is a lot of people questioning, judgment. Maybe this is also indicating, though, too, that, the harsh, that sometimes, our judicial system does not look kindly on lawbreakers. And of course, right now we have a few things happening with that, Mr. Trump's lawyers have to present the reasons why their client, should or should not be able to share information that comes out of discovery. And that's
Right.
going to be coming on Monday. So there are some things proceeding this week. And they asked for a stay and the judge denied it. They asked for more time and the judge denied it.
Well, remember, Monday is the day of this show, so that's coming out today.
And remember that Mr. Trump really believes he can't get a fair trial in D.C.
So what will we find out, or what may we find out? What is there to be found out? For that, it is the Secrets Tarot, which I use.
Yes. Proceed. As I learn to use my tablet while we do this. All right. I should probably move some of this there.
It's the reversed Four of Coins.
Wow. Well, okay, so that is what we will see, the mysteries.
Right.
I don't know. This is really an interesting one to me. Somebody may have to give up something, They may have to let go of something that they've been holding on to tightly. And they may have to give it up.
So if we're thinking it's about, this whole matter of the indictment, then is it secret information that could actually flip the script in some way, or is it something that maybe is even more damaging? And there had been speculation for several weeks that persons who were close to the former president had possibly flipped and given testimony in exchange for a level of immunity. So are we going to find that out this week?
We may find out, yes, a lot of things. And what it might also be saying is that maybe more people will have to make some deals, Some of these witnesses are really in for, I'm not witnesses, co-conspirators are really in for some tough charges themselves.
It was mentioned that the way this was presented without naming them could be saying that they are thinking this information will put them more closer to doing that flip. So who knows, right?
Indeed. But, this could be other things too. We're going to look at this again. I mean, in a sense, when I look at judgment reversed here, this could be some really dangerous games going on in either the war in Ukraine or, with the China-Russia thing going on with the U.S. right now, too. Something's got to give, And so I could almost see that, too, especially Ukraine and Russia, because I don't know. I understand exactly why Ukraine's doing what they're doing, but this could be rather dangerous for them, If push comes to shove and the Russian people start getting too anxious with the bombings that are happening in Russia, Putin could resort to some dangerous stuff. Nukes. There's talk about a possible invasion of Poland by Wagner troops.
Well, I was thinking about that, and I was thinking, the giving up of things could relate to all these other actors in that stage, that arena there, the other countries, the other nations who are part of NATO or somewhere there on the sidelines. Your shuffle.
I agree.
So this is the Tarot of Oppositions, and it is the deck we use to find what are those perspectives on either end or anywhere in between that, as much as we can tell. We may look at the card as upright or reverse, but we are tempted to also include those, opposite ideas too. Sometimes I sort of feel like we should just lay the card sideways and just do it that,
I don't think so.
I know you don't.
I like to weigh it one way or the other. But to consider both perspectives. Oh, bah, Mr. O.
So what is that? What is that perspectives we need to consider? And it's the upright Wheel of Fortune.
Really?
Yes, it is an upright card, the Wheel of Fortune.
Well, but we're supposed to consider both sides.
Now you say that.
But it's true. You said it yourself.
Well, it could be saying that, there's a lot of variable random factors. Some of them are good and or mostly good, but there are a few things that are either unknown or randomly bad if they happen.
I'm worried about this a little bit here. So we need to see what other perspectives need to be considered. We need to worry about where this fate, of Mr. Trump and the election, or Ukraine and the war, or this Russia-China thing, where is fate taking us, What is our fate based on this? It could be good. It could be bad. Maybe this will, some things like with Russia and Ukraine, could it bring them to the table, as this war escalates and Ukraine gains more ground on Russia?
It's kind of like an unstable game of Russian roulette, Clint Eastwood style.
I guess
Feel lucky. Feel lucky.
Yeah, do you feel lucky? I don't know, Mr. O. I'm a little nervous about this one.
It's a nervous card.
Just because we can't totally take it upright. But let's just say that more likely than not, I would just say that maybe, this is shifting, whatever's happening is shifting us in a more positive direction. We'll see. We'll see.
So now we move to the Healing Light Tarot.
For the
we are asking the
overall
question,
impact.
what is the overall impact here? What is the impact? What kind of denouements could possibly arise from this, or or not?
Or not.
But what is the overall impact? How may people possibly feel, or what other forces may have reactions? Any of that kind of stuff could possibly be shown here.
One more.
Or not.
All right. All right, let's check this out. It's the Two of Swords and it's upright.
Two of Swords upright. The overall impact. Well, maybe the overall impact is sort of a sense of things are kind of at a stalemate, that maybe either between, the things that are going on with the prosecution of Mr. Trump, that there's some amount of things that are kind of stalemate some of that stuff. But I could also see this applying to some of the conditions going on with, Ukraine, Russia too, that, and again, is it based on the idea that maybe there are so many different chance things that people think they can feel lucky about and press? So what is that impact to you?
I would like to think it's a truce, but I don't think it is. It's a very uneasy kind of pause, and, hopefully, though, that means that there is some thinking and strategizing going on instead of any kind of outbursts or actions. Like, for example, maybe Mr. Trump will learn he cannot speak the way he wants to about people and levy those threats. Perhaps with Russia and Ukraine, maybe it's kind of a stalemate situation and it's just going to be this tit for tat stuff for a while. And with China and Russia working together, it's just showing that they just want to let the U.S. know, hey, you come sort of like Mr. Trump. You come after us. We're coming for you.
But the funny thing is that, of course, when I look at the Two of Swords like that, I sort of feel like there's a sense of, well, we still don't know everything we're going to do. We still don't know everything we need to know. And so some of this is a pose that is either to bully or to subtly bully or to subtly suggest you're at a stalemate, it's your move. Do you feel lucky, going back to that again? And so maybe the actual ends of these situations are not even known by those persons or those actors either.
Food for thought here, absolutely.
Food for thought. So finally we come to our last card.
What could or not win the Weird Week?
And it's the Global Infusion Intuitive Tarot.
Oh boy. Choose wisely, Mr. O.
I shall.
I have some definite thoughts here looking back. All right.
Here we go. And it's the Nine of Swords. No, Wands. Nine of Wands.
Oh, it's clubs. It's wands.
Yes.
Oh, boy. Well, what could win the Weird Week is who's better prepared,
right.
To state their case, to do what they have to do. I'm worried a little bit about this card because it's like preparing for war, too, which with Russia and China kind of, commiserating together there. And some of the other stuff going on, I'm a little concerned.
Right. I mean, you could say that in the prosecution of former president, it's kind of easy to see who's maybe more prepared. But In
True
the
that.
other more international war kind of situations, it may be a little bit harder to see that. There certainly is a sense of somebody feeling that they're prepared that could possibly work into those situations too. And what does that mean then?
Ah. I'm a little concerned about all of this. Maybe we should recap it, Mr. O, and
Already?
see if we can make more sense. So the major focus theme, tone for the weird week, is judgment reversed. I feel here that this could be some real harsh judgments being handed down, which some people will not be happy about. And also, this could indicate the fact that, this week starts off with somebody crying foul. They're not getting a fair shake. Like in Washington, D.C., they can't get a fair trial. It's also possible, too, that, some harsh retribution could be levied, between Russia and Ukraine, when they're battling back and forth like this.
For some time, there's been a lot of stuff going on in our legal system and probably legal systems around the world too, where it does seem like the rule of law is constantly being challenged, and sometimes it does better and sometimes it doesn't. So this is sort of a sign saying we have to be prepared for things not necessarily working out the way we think is the rule of law.
Exactly. So card 2 is what we will find out or see, the mysteries. And this is an interesting card. I maybe didn't spend a lot of time on this. It's the Four of Pentacles reversed. And I feel here that somebody's got to give something up. Somebody's got to let go of something. Is it Russia having to let go of their dreams of taking over more of Ukraine? Is it, Mr. Trump having to give in to the demands of the justice system? Is it something else in relation?
Well,
Mr.
if he kind of resists and keeps being his own person, he could be giving up his freedom for at least a day or two, because that judge may just slap some contempt on him.
Could it be others have to give up, their idea of voting for him for president because they may feel that this is too much baggage for him? Now, we don't see that.
Well, there's an implication of comfort, too, with the Four of Pentacles coming or going, losing or gaining.
But we really don't see that, at least as far as polls go. But, for the last few elections, I haven't trusted the polls, so I'm not sure what to make of that. Card 3, what other perspectives need to be considered?
The Wheel of Fortune.
What fate is going to throw our way? I mean, really, I almost feel like Mr. Trump feels he's at the whims of fate here, or at the whims of people who are unfriendly to him and not, following the rule of law. I feel here too that maybe we are all worried right now of where all of this is going to take us. What does the future hold? Are we going to be fighting? Is there going to be fighting in the streets if Trump gets prosecuted? Is there going to be fighting in the streets even if he goes to trial? Will witnesses, or for that matter, the judge or other people be threatened?
So really clearly, that's a pretty cool card to put in that position, because it does sort of show the vagaries of good or bad luck in this situation and how some people really have fears or hopes.
And I feel this can swing either way.
True enough. So card 4?
So card 4.
The healing impact.
The overall impact, yes.
From the Healing Tarot.
Yep, and of course it is the Two of Swords. Upright, correct? Yes. And so the overall impact is, kind of a stalemate of sorts, or, maybe people are stepping back and re-strategizing or getting their stuff together, because the Two of Swords is not so much about making a decision, which makes me wonder, will a final decision be rendered on this latest, this latest move by Jack Smith to get a protective order, or not? I wonder if maybe there might be a delay.
The overall impact seems to be that there's some sense of things sort of just in abeyance of some sort. Maybe there's a pause before the following week when things maybe will kick up one way or the other. Who knows?
And card 5, what could win the weird week or lose it? And
It's the Nine of Wands.
well,
Upright.
I guess I'm of a double-edged sword on this one. I feel it could win the weird week, being, if people come prepared, if people, and if people are ready to stand up for what's right, what they feel is right. But that's a double-edged sword here because both sides feel they're right, and they're both preparing in a sense for war.
Right, and if you apply this to any of the other, hot spots in the world right now, whatever's going on elsewhere in the world where there maybe are some diametrically opposed forces.
There's a coup in Niger.
Exactly.
And different other things going on as well. So, you all have got to look at this, and hey, if you have any ideas of what other things this could apply to, by all means, let us know. We are still going to keep an open mind because the week hasn't happened yet in earnest, so we're just going to wait and see what the results are and report them next time on our next episode of Your Weird Week. Hey, we will see you then. Take care, everybody.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.